Okay, so I had to restart my computer. It just crashed so suddenly. So what I was about to show you was a way to turn off this texture here. I start to do a little bit of painting on the legs to catch up my texturing. And what I was about to show you is another way of painting textures is by using a texture tool here under the Lightbox texture. You have all the textures. I had created actually this texture. Let me try to show it one more time. Texture. I'm gonna click here. I created a texture that just went online and just got a photo butterfly. I can try to make a texture out of it. You can pretty much do anything, any texture you want. And I'm gonna just try by clicking on that one. I'm gonna use it as a spotlight, they call it. What a spotlight is a way to, let's see if I can show it here again. For some reason, it's not showing. Click on that one. There it is. So the spotlight is kind of like a way for you to project on your object. You can zoom in and zoom out and try to move around to try to fit your character there. And this is a way for you to use a texture to say, for example, paint on it with your brush, but you're kind of using that to map. You can rotate around. You want to rotate around a little bit here and there. And you can change the opacity of it so that it you can see more or less when you're painting. So that way it's a little bit easier. So I'm gonna try to put it right there, very low. And there are all sorts of things here. I'm not that versed with it, but you can go and explore. And some of them is kind of intensity and hue, and just modifying some of those values there to get a better way of transitioning it, or saturation. So you can have and change the saturation of it, I guess. You can also move it around. Let me get out of there. I'm just gonna try to just stay somewhere here. And there is a different one, smudge, and there is other ones for you to modify it. Anyways, when you have it like that, then you can go and press the Z key, Z, and you see how your brush takes on that texture. I'm going to change the intensity of my RGB. I don't want to paint it all full blown right there. I'm just gonna try to do maybe 20%. All right. I'm gonna try start painting on it, kind of doing a little bit of painting. Oh my God, let's see if I can show it working. I should have been doing it. I'm just gonna cut the intensity here for a moment just to test it. Let's see if I do that. There it is. This is my computer catching up a little bit, so it's not showing it fully as I was expecting it to show. So here it is. I'm going to, if you could do Shift D, Shift C, you can call it on and off. So that way you can decide how to apply it. And then if you go Z again, you can go and move it. Let's say you want to paint on this side better. I'm gonna just Z again. I'm gonna rotate around here, don't paint on this side. It's a little too strong right now. I wanted to do it at low res, but my computer was taking a little too long, so I'm gonna bring it down. When I mean low res, or the lower intensity there is. So try to see if I can show it a bit less. There you go. This was a little too intense for what I wanted. And you can go around and paint on it using that. You decide if that's what works for you or not. In my case, I wanted to just get a bit more of a kind of changed appearance for his lower legs. You can probably do a little bit more of the tail on the tail and so on and so forth. So right now, it's very roughly dying it off. We're gonna bring down the intensity a bit more, so I don't see much of it on the rest of the body. All right. And then when you're ready, you simply go to your texture and then you just turn it off. And that gets applied on your object. This was me trying to fix some of the texture there, and I went over and by accident painted on him. I'm gonna try to fix some of that right here so I can get him, try to get my stroke back to what it was. Let's see if I can get it to work. Density too strong right now. See if I can do it this way. I got little dots on my texture. I don't know why it's doing that, but I'm gonna skip that for now. Now, the other thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you here is I'm gonna turn this off, and I'm going to add another way of doing it is by, let's say I put a texture on him. Let's say if I grab a texture, let's see, I'm gonna use this greenish kind of grassy thing, but I'm going to use a alpha to mask the thing. So I'm going to use those bubbles that I had created. I got those from pexel.com, and then I brought them into Photoshop and tweaked them a little bit. So now what I'm using is this to mask my texture. Let me go zoom in a little bit more. I'll try to do that on the tail. I'm kind of looking a bit ugly right now, but my hope is to show you the different tools. Hoping that you will do a good job. And here I'm gonna try using my drag here so that you can see how my texture right now being applied right there, but not just in the alpha the way I hope it was. Let me see. Let me try painting it first. I'm gonna undo that and see how I can get it there. It's sort of doing it, only that you don't see it in action. Let me turn this off just to show you what I wanted to show you. I'm gonna try to get this one a bit darker here. So it's a bit like a darker tone, a bit more neutral looking. And then I try to paint on it. So you see that if I'm gonna use it as a dragging, you can see it showing there. It's just that when I use it as a dot, it goes and kind of covers it. So if you apply a texture to it, and you can try and bring it down the intensity a little bit, then you can see how kind of the effect takes on it. The other option you have is just trying to move it over here. The other option you have is using your alpha, turning off your alpha and your texture, and then using it as a mask. So let's see how that works. So let's say, for example, I want to paint a bit more on his underbelly. Maybe continuing with that tone that I had coming from the tail. And I'm gonna go try putting a when you press your control key, your mask shows up, and I can use an alpha attached to the mask. So if I use those bubbles as my alpha on my mask, I could try painting right now. Let me see if I can do that. See if it's showing. It's not completely showing. Trying to get it But do it as a drag, maybe just to see if I can show it a little bit better. Change it as a drag here. And try to, you can see now, I'm painting an alpha that uses, an alpha, I'm sorry, no, a mask that uses those little bubbles. And I'm not painting on the object just yet. I'm just painting the bubbles as a possible coloring options. Of course, whatever is lighter is going to be a light color, whatever is dark is going to be a darker color. So now I can go here and say, okay, let me try painting on it. Now I'm gonna use my brush. I'm gonna paint that grass texture. I'm gonna try to go and paint on it here. And that is adding it to the body as those little details start showing up. Let me see if I can go a bit closer and show some of that. So I'm painting again on the object, but only the mask is allowing it to go where I need it to be. So if I turn off my mask, let's say mask, and then let's open an open space, you can see how the green shows jaws in certain areas. Maybe it's not as nice as I want it to be, but that shows the idea. So and you can inverse it if you want and apply a darker tone. And if you inverse it, let's say if you use the object, let me undo that before I get rid of the mask. I'm gonna undo, so I have my mask there, and I can go here, and I'm gonna go under my masks window here on the side, masking, and I can inverse the mask. So now I can go and paint maybe a little bit darker on those. I'm gonna try to turn it off and maybe apply actually the same texture that I had here. And then I can start painting on my guy using that texture so that it generates a different contrast. Maybe I can do it a bit darker. I tried using this one. That's cool. That way I can start. Again, my mask is active, so I'm painting some of those areas with darker tone. Again, I'm overdoing it, but the idea with it is that you understand the concept. So if I just get rid of my mask, then you see now how the mask covered some parts, and you see a nice transition of it. The only part that I'm not so happy about are the legs with the butterfly effect, but you get the idea. All right, I'm gonna increment and save my file, so that I doesn't say my version 11 here. I'm gonna leave it there for now.
Any better for him on the offensive side of the ball. Simple as that.
I don't care how much the game changes. It's about the line of scrimmage. If you're getting dominated on the line of scrimmage, good luck. Mike T, did you think the game was more about the Bills' dominance, the greatest point differential in the league this year by a lot, or the Steelers' struggles?
I think it was about Buffalo's excellence. And if you go back to the big play in the game, the 98-yard touchdown on the third play of the game, the Steelers actually had the perfect defense. They were double teaming both receivers on the outside, and despite having the perfect defense, Josh Allen was able to drive the ball in, and I think there was no defense on the planet yesterday that was going to be able to stop this Bills offense. So, look, Pittsburgh's struggling up front on both sides of the ball, as Lewis alluded to, but right now, Buffalo is just at such a higher level in terms of how they're operating on offense.
Hey, Lewis, the Bills every year they get closer and closer and closer. And going into this year, everyone liked them as the favorites, and they haven't done anything to dispel that kind of feeling. Are they the team to beat in the AFC?
No, I'm still giving it to Kansas City because of their offensive line and because Kansas City can play any way you want to play it now. So it's going to be a shootout, but I'm still going to give it to them because of that one fundamental difference. And that is that Kansas City can change the play however they want. And we'll see. We'll see, though.
Yeah, listen, they're both great. I'm not taking anyone.